I'm gonna hit. I'm gonna transition to the game and we'll see. Alright, you should be live.
Okay, hello everyone, I'm back. If you missed the last run, my name's indykenobi, and this is Star Wars Knights of the Old Republic. We just did any percent no major glitches, but now we're gonna take the gloves off and we're gonna move to the unrestricted rule set, which allows every glitch except for one. And we are still going to get all the star maps, so this is not actually going to be any percent. This is all star maps. We have to get each individual star map on each planet. This is important because there's actually a method of duplicating star maps, which is what any percent uses. But we're not going to be doing that. We're going to be doing some other cool stuff instead. To help me explain everything that's going on, we have the premier glitch hunter in the KOTOR speedrunning community, Lane. Say hi, Lane.
Hi there.
So the basic setup is the same. There's no saves ahead of time. This is actually more relevant in unrestricted runs because we're going to be using save files to actually warp around from planet to planet. We're also going to start by turning VSync off. And we do this to make a glitch called a displaced loading zone a little bit easier to actually execute. So with all that said, let's get started. So this run can be done as either a male or female character. I'm actually going to be using a female character because the visual cues for certain glitches are different between male and female is what I'm used to. Our attributes, we max out Dexterity and Constitution. Dexterity gives us a better chance to hit with our blasters, so we're going to be using blasters, and Constitution to give us a better chance of surviving. We don't really need many skills. We need Security on the Endar Spire, and we need Persuade for certain conversations. I put 2 points in Repair just because that seems best. We're going to pick 2 weapon fighting for our skill. We're actually only going to have 1 level up in the entire run. So there's not a whole lot to it. What should I do for a name? Let's do...
Ooh, what would be a good name?
So the one I usually do for this category is Mary Poppins. But maybe we can come up with something better.
Well, if you have any suggestions from the chat, that'd be fantastic. Also, apparently, I could be a little louder.
Yeah, let's boost you up a little bit more.
I can also like sit closer to the mic if that helps.
You are boosted.
Gotcha.
What's the
I think...
what's the main female character in Mass Effect?
Oh, is it still Shepard or?
Not Shepard.
Well, C-Dub's suggesting Lane Kenobi.
Okay.
So we could just go with that.
Well, let's just go with that. All right. So if everything goes well, we're going to be off Taris in 8 minutes. Here we go.
All right. So the timing starts as soon as we select play here.
Yeah, I'll do the countdown. 3, 2, 1, go.
Right, so we start this one off just like we did with NMG with a quick save buffer, but since we don't have VSync enabled, it actually goes lightning fast, so we're already past the first cutscene, and we're going to buffer straight past Trask, ignoring the tutorial entirely. So, what's happening is Trask is going to chat with us while we open this door, which breaks this cutscene here. But luckily, we can still get out of the Endar Spire using what we call a DLZ. This is a bit of a misnomer. It means displaced loading zone, and we got it right away there. Essentially, if you line up exactly with the X coordinate on the edge of the door, you can go through a door on the other side of the map remotely. So we basically skipped the entire first half of the Endar Spire, and we're basically almost done with the tutorial already. So yeah, off to a great start. That's a really solid DLZ.
Yeah. That first DLZ is a big reset point just because it's so early in the run. So you really want to get it within like 5 seconds if you can.
Alright, and we're not wasting any time of looting or anything like that. We're just going straight to Taris in our birthday suit. So here, we're actually gonna make this cutscene about 2 seconds faster by spamming save during it. And there's a little bit of micro movement and stuff happening here, but nothing too intense. And VSync's back on, so we're actually able to play the game. We will not be immortal for this run, because it's actually faster to not do immortality. So we make a hard save there that we'll be using later, and now we're starting what we call the fake level up. This particular variant is what we call a skeleton fake level up, or a skelly flu, where we're basically doing a bunch of blank levels until we get to level 17, where we can get sneak attack 9, and also our improved 2-weapon fighting, which is going to allow us to do some quick kills later in the game.
Hello?
Oh, Lareem trolled Indy a little bit there. We're doing the Lareem shop, which is a bit safer. There is some Lareem skipping strats available, but it's smart of Indy to not go with that in a marathon setting.
Mostly, actually, it's the only place we can get clothes. I did that wrong.
Yes, right here, Indy's trying to do the quick.
Alright, we're gonna have to do the backup.
Which can be kind of tough.
We'll do the backup. That's fine.
Alright, backup it is. Alright, now our first super major glitch that's happening right here, we're doing what's called a routine. So we just returned back to the hideout, and now we're doing a series of glitches that's going to cause all of our save data to be deleted, except for the south apartments. So what happens is when we load back into the south apartment and we try and transit back to where we returned from, it doesn't know where to put us, so it puts us at the default location right next to Zelka's office, cutting out all the walking in the upper city.
I see from your...
And this isn't 2nd edition D&D, this is based off of D&D 3, or the OpenGL gaming license. Open Gaming License, the OGL. Got my wires crossed there. Another DLC from Karth, this will take us into the Upper City North. And now we're going to do what's called an autosave hotshot. This is named after Hotshot Wire, a member of our community that's done some glitch hunting. So we are going to overwrite an autosave with a different autosave, making it load in the incorrect location, which is going to cause us to appear at the default spawn location in Upper City North. Looks like things got a little crossed there, but I'll give Indy another shot. There we go. This looks better. But yes, this is going to cut out a bunch of running, yet again, and put us at the other side of the Upper City, ready to do another DLC. So this one's going to take us into the Sith base, which is an in-game area here on Taris. So we've been on planet for a couple minutes now, and we're already heading kind of towards the end game for the first chunk of this run.
Come on. DLZs are sometimes a little bit finicky.
Yeah. Something you'll notice about the DLZs is that we're doing them with VSync disabled. This increases your frame rate, which actually gives you more chances to hit it, because you have to line up exactly, and since your movement isn't actually continuous, it's discrete, you have to kind of get a little lucky there. There we just did a GP warp. If you saw the NMG run, you'll be familiar with those. That cut us across the Sith base with Karth. And since Karth hit the door, that warps our main character over, so he can get the necessary credentials to go to the elevator, and the main character can walk us over there. And now that we've made it here, we'll just come back later. We do an ordinary hard save hotshot to get back to the Upper City North. We've been calling those Neo hotshots because there's a newer version of an older one. But we have that module saved for later, and for now we're gonna head to the lower city and check that out.
So that's, I think, the first hotshot, and it's basically just a method of warping from one module to another. We can abuse certain properties of it. With something called a coordinate warp, but we're gonna have to...
Yeah, we'll see more of that later. Right now, we're having a bit of struggle with Lower City DLC, which sucks, because this one's usually pretty easy. Yeah, sometimes it just doesn't play nice.
Thanks,
there
Lane.
We go.
Lane, you're supposed to talk about how hard it is when I'm not getting it.
Oh, right. The hardest one.
Yeah. Totally challenging, and I totally forgot the backup, too.
So this is a fun little trick right here called the conversation queue, where essentially we clicked on Karth with the main character, so the main character's trying to talk to Karth the whole time, and so other conversations can't happen during that, which allows us to skip past the long Vulkar cutscene.
Ow.
And that trick actually works on Xbox if you ever wanted to skip cutscenes on there. Alright, so you didn't quite see it there because of the way it worked, but we actually clipped into the door during the save, and when we loaded, that caused us to load into the Vulkar base, skipping past the locked door. Now we immediately hot-shotted back, and we're going to do a bit of a transit warp to get back to the start of the lower city, where we're going to head to the back base. Alright.
Ready.
This is a fun little DLC, and that was quick. Nice.
That was...
And another one immediately after.
That one is actually one of the easier ones. Come on. There we go. Alright,
Cool.
we're done DLZing for a while. I don't know who this guy is.
Kill Gaddon. You don't actually have to kill Kira here. As soon as Gaddon's dead, that is all the variable is checking to see if we sided with the Vulkars or not. So when we warp back to the Vulkar base, they're like, let's go, let's do some swoop racing.
Alright, yeah, swoop racing. We still have two things we need to do. We need to finish a swoop race because that's what makes Canderous appear in the Cantina, and that's how we get to Davik's estate. And then we also have to break the launch codes to Canderous to get to Davik's estate, which means we need to kill the governor. So we're not quite done here, but we've done most of the heavy lifting.
Alright, now, we all need to judge Indy if he gets anything much slower than a 23-second swoop race here.
I got 2301 in energy.
Oh, nice. That's, yeah, honestly, that's... Can't ask for much better.
I think that was not a great start.
I think, don't you technically have the unrecorded world record for this race?
No, Ladies has a better time.
Oh, it's still LOM? Okay.
But I did get an unrecorded PB when I was practicing last night. (23:07). That's okay.
Not bad at all.
KOTOR speedrunning is very existential because the game constantly asks you, do you really want to quit?
And the answer is usually no. Also, when you're seeing that menu, we didn't quite explain it. We kind of glossed over it with everything else happening, but we call that an AMG, or an anywhere menu glitch. Essentially what we're doing is we're hitting Alt F4 while the game is saving or loading, which brings up the "Are you sure you want to quit?" dialogue, which makes the game get into a very strange pause state that lets us really break a lot of menus and conversations. Here, we're doing a different glitch called wire targeting, which essentially lets us attack non-hostile enemies. So we're going to kill the governor without him fighting back. And that was a great governor fight.
That was good.
Really quick.
Alright, we're almost done.
Nice. Right back at Javiar's Cantina, where we just left.
I'm gonna do this while I'm thinking about it. So I did a slightly safer save route on Taris compared to what I usually do, just to avoid the chance of a crippling time loss. But that meant I had one extra save compared to what I usually do, so I got rid of it.
So what happens here is typically there's a long sequence where you get a tour around Davik's estate, but we break the conversation right as he shows us to the exit, so we can just immediately steal his ship as soon as we get here without doing anything else in Davik's estate. And just like that, Taris is done.
We're out of here. Let's go become a Jedi. Oh, wait.
Yeah, I'm here.
That sounds like a lot of effort.
So we have another conversation queue. Canderous is chasing after the main character, so nobody's going to start conversations with us because he has priority for conversations right now.
It also helps him follow us as we run down this hallway. Alright.
Some safety, well, not safety saving, some hard saving that we're going to be using for hotshots later. And we're back to the DLZ land. So forget becoming a Jedi, forget learning about the plot or talking to the Jedi Council. We don't have time for that. We're just going to immediately exit the Enclave right away.
Yeah.
What?
And Canderous is going to call dibs yet again, so we don't get accosted here by John or any of the Cath Hounds in the courtyard section. And yeah, this is kind of probably one of the more chill sections of the game right here, where you just get to do a little bit of running.
get to think about all the DLCs that I didn't do fast enough.
Exactly.
Yeah. The game sometimes crashes here. It hasn't crashed yet, so that seems positive.
Alright, and so instead of doing anything on Dantooine at all, we're actually just going to run to the very last section of the game, which is the Ruins, where we're going to get our first star map in this all star maps run. So first thing we do is we clip through the locked door using slight angle clipping, which is an old Glasnock discovery. Unfortunately, it looks like Canderous got stuck, but there's a little backup for this, no big deal.
That happens sometimes, you just try it again.
And then nice quick little DLZ with Canderous here.
Hopefully
This
quick.
one, I don't have a good line for this one, I just kind of full send it usually.
Yeah. It's not supposed to
There
be
you go.
hard.
Now, despite never talking to or meeting Bastila, she gets added to our party, so we have her now.
Which is good. We need party members. Because of certain skips we've done,
What can I do?
we don't actually have access to Canderous anymore. Or Karth.
Yep. Bastila's our only functioning party member at the moment. So that was another DLZ to activate the star map, and you notice he had the menu open for that one. Because the game's not rendering in the background when you have the menus open, your frame rate shoots through the roof, which makes it very easy.
Bastila.
So here, Bastila got warped to her clone because there's 2 Bastilas in the module right now, and that allowed us to skip to the council without doing any walking as soon as we got back. And just like that, we are wrapping up Dantooine.
You have done well in discovering the star.
So satisfying to do a quick save right after that conversation. Super small thing, but... Alright, this is where the route really diverges from any percent, because at this point any percent would go and duplicate the Kashyyyk star map 4 times, but we have to actually go get all of the star maps. So, this is where coordinate warping is really going to come into play.
Alright. So we return to Ebonhawk and then immediately hotshot back. And since hotshots put you at your last location, we're already back at the galaxy map and
where am I
ready to
going?
travel to Corban, I guess.
Yes, we're going to Corban. I sometimes have to remember where I'm going, because I've been doing 3 categories for a while now.
Yeah, you should have saw me there. I was watching you do the map menu. I was like, Manaan, Tatooine.
Corban first. The planet order in this route is Corban, Kashyyyk, Corban, Manaan, Kashyyyk, Manaan, Kashyyyk, Manaan, Tatooine, Corban, Manaan, Manaan again, Tatooine, Manaan, Tatooine, and then we're done.
Yeah. Easy, right? Y'all guys got that in chat?
There's a quiz later. We used Chardon's conversation to skip Lashos, because we can just move very easily during it.
Yeah, that was another little AMG trick that we had done, where we were running around while the conversation was going.
And we just warped back to Dresh Day real quick.
Is there something you...
And now we're going to get admitted to the academy.
Manaan. Alright, you'll see some similar stuff happening here in the academy that you saw in NMG, just slightly more broken. Similar stuff to skipping Uther's conversation and messing around with people early like Lasho and Uthera.
Yeah, strangely enough, we still want to talk to Lasho in this run, because we're going to use her cutscene for something a little bit later. But once we get to the Valley of the Dark Lords here, we're going to leave.
Alright, so we get barely into Corban, and after that we decide we've seen enough of this planet, and we're heading back to the Ebonhawk to go fly somewhere else.
I'm here. I'm here.
Alright, we're going to bring Bastila with us for some
I'm here.
neat little movement tech.
What can I do?
So one of the neat things
Sweet.
about Unrestricted is that when you're doing a GP warp, you can actually move a character while the dialogue button is up.
Hold here.
And that makes things nicer.
Yeah, so we cut across the landing pad, and now we make a save in here that we're going to use for a very fancy
here.
little coordinate warp right here. So you see Basila's coordinates, where he just put her, line up with the XY coordinates
What?
over here
I'm here.
on this other map, halfway across, which is a good enough distance for a GP warp to take us to the elevator, skipping
I'm
the
here.
entire Great Walkway, and we're in the lower Shadowlands. Or upper Shadowlands, rather.
Yeah. And then we're going to use some coordinates in the upper Shadowlands to go back to the Valley of the Dark Lord.
What can I do?
We're going to put Bastila kind of over here. And if she squints really hard, she can lash out over there. So let's see.
Alright, and just like that. When we head back to the valley, using a hot shot, Bastila
Yes?
will appear right by Lasho, because
There you-
it's the same
I've been
coordinates as
calling
where
for
we
the
put her in the Shadowlands.
And then triggering Lasho's conversation warps the main character over to that end of the valley, and now we can get into the Tomb of Nagasadao here. Or as I like to call it, the Sadao Lands.
Right, so we're essentially kind of doing Corban and Kashyyyk at the same time at the moment. Though, of course, things are going to get a little more complicated in just a second.
We're going to make 2 more saves, and then we're going to fly to Manaan.
Manaan.
Oops. And Manaan has a really cool trick to it. We're going to go get the autosave over here that you get when you go to West Central. But then as soon as we get the autosave, we're actually going to load that quick save we just made to do a coordinate warp to Kashyyyk. But it's important that we have the autosave because we're going to use that autosave to get back to Manaan when we're done on Kashyyyk. So here's our
Some fancy
autosave.
Bastila positioning there.
I'm here.
Okay. And by doing this, and we're gonna just make another save real quick. Turns out Bastila is right next to the poachers.
You want any?
Yeah, so cuts out even more walking. And we're basically just navigating multiple planets at the same time.
You want any?
We're gonna skip the cutscene with the Tarentatech here. And then we're gonna do a
Yes?
similar trick to what we did in NMG, and we're gonna talk to Jolie with Bastila, but switch back to the main character so that when Jolie shows up, he's also at the Zerka poachers. And now we save teleport.
Which is an unfortunate reality of this category. Save teleporting.
It is not
Only
as
we're-
bad as NMG is, but it does.
Only we're fast enough to have none.
Yeah. Oh, that's probably bad. That was a very early memory crash. I feel hard done by.
We flew too close to the sun with that one, it looks like.
I did not deserve that. That's okay. We have the save. The really unfortunate part about memory crashes is that when they happen,
You want any?
it corrupts your quick save. So you can't load the quick save you just had. You have to reload your last previous save. And depending on where you are in the route, that can be a pretty big time loss. This is a moderate time
Yes?
loss.
I'm here.
Well,
Just music get to see the Kashyyyk micro a little bit more.
Yeah. So normally the game crash. Oh,
What?
good.
Brilliant, loved it.
Normally the game crashes between 1400 and 1500 megabytes, but you know it's usually closer to 1500. That crashed at 1401. So I'm like, oh, that's great.
Yeah, this is...
What?
Oh,
What is happening?
I think you got whipped around whenever you tried to click the door.
So my main character died because they ran into a mine. And then when they got revived, because I'm not in combat, they got warped over to where Jolie was. Which is, of course, far away. Okay, we're going to make a save here, and now we're going to do an autosave hotshot. Which I need to menu correctly for. But that's why we needed the autosave on Manaan, so that we can warp back there with an autosave
I'm
hot
here.
shot.
And since the default location here in Manaan is by the docking clerk, we cut out some running.
So our setup is pretty much done. You may have noticed that we haven't really gotten a star map in a while. It's time to start getting star maps. It's time for Jolie to follow me.
Oh wow, Jolie is just not behaving this run.
I am upset. You can probably tell from the pure rage in my voice how upset I am.
Oh yeah.
That cutscene's so short that it's faster to just match it than actually try to skip it. So, it turns out that in this corner of a door frame, we can find the Kashyyyk star map.
And we just do this conversation real quick. And as soon as the star map starts to open, we already have the necessary variables set, so we can just cancel out and start moving Jolie to where we need to go.
Which is right near these vines.
So these particular vines are some special vines, because it just so happens that these vines are the same thing as...
Dramatic pause, a submersible.
And so we board the submarine, and now we are in a record station.
Now I want to go back to the Ebon Hawk. I forgot something on the ship, so we're going to go there.
And finally, it's time to fly to Tatooine, because we've done so much on these other planets already.
So this is a bit of blind save teleporting that I'm trying to get past a Gizka trigger with, which I did manage to do, so that's cool. It's a little tricky because you have to, like, turn slightly before you start save teleporting, and if you have the wrong angle, you'll just miss the door completely.
But yeah, that was pretty slick. You didn't even get to see Anchorhead.
What's Anchorhead? Okay, I have a feeling that right outside this door is a star map. Oops. Okay, that's fine.
This coordinate warp right here is a classic one, as it used to be in old any% back in the
Yeah,
day.
this is
What?
an oldie but a goodie. Okay, I'm actually going to do a memory reset here just to try and get back on my usual track.
Understandable.
We got the star map, and then we put Jolie in a specific spot so that when we warp back to Record Station, he's going to find, dramatic pause, a scuba suit.
So if you're keeping track, that's 3 star maps down, 2 to go.
Alright, now we can go to the seafloor, and because we don't want to move really slowly, we're going to go back to the Ebon Hawk. And we're going to do a special coordinate warp here using a stunt module. So maybe you could explain it, Lane.
So here we have a special cutscene, which is the this is Kellinord Lives, right? Or no, this is Bandon's introduction, isn't it? Yeah.
Yes.
So this is Darth Bandon's introduction, which uses the module pieces of the Leviathan, which has some coordinates on it that we can hotshot away from to land on the seafloor at a very specific location by the exit. And notably, Jolie doesn't have a scuba suit on.
It's okay, he'll be fine. Now we're back in Anchorhead. Turns out Jolie is right next to the exit, so let's exit.
No one.
And now we're going to make a save here, and we're going to hope that we don't trigger this angry woman who likes to trigger her conversation by herself sometimes. But we managed to avoid it. She's really angry. She's so angry she triggers her conversation by herself. And then by looking at this Ronto, we are inspired to return to Kolto Control and head to Fracker Rift. But as soon as we
right at the exit.
As soon as we get there, we get an autosave, so we're going to warp back here, and we're going to talk to this guy to do an autosave hotshot to Fracker Rift, which happens to warp us to the bridge
I'm here.
right near our shark friend.
And don't worry, the main character and Jolie are just very, very strong swimmers. They can hold their breath. So that's 4 star maps down, 1 to go.
Yep, we're almost done. So we're now going to do 2 hotshots in quick succession to make it to the right part of the Dune Sea, because the one we're missing is Tatooine. I should probably point out that coordinate warps only work with party members. You cannot coordinate warp the main character, because the rules for where the main character spawns are different. And it basically boils down to last position in the module. Alright, so we get Jolie over here, and we use this cutscene to warp the main character over there, and then hopefully we safe teleport over that trigger and head straight into the Dune Sea.
And just like that, we've sequence broken past all of Tatooine. And all that's left is to get our star map. But there's one more obstacle.
The Crate Dragon. So you saw the complicated setup that we had to do for NMG.
Of waiting.
We have a much nicer setup that we can do here in Unrestricted. We basically trigger the cutscene, and then we're going to move over here.
I'm here.
And then as soon as he starts moving forward, we can quick save and quick load. Get the star map. That's the last star map. And then we get out of here by warping back to the Ebon Hawk.
And just like that, we have gotten all 5 star maps basically at the same time. And we didn't see the Leviathan at all, so we're ready to head off to the Unknown World, or Rakata Prime, or Lahan, or whatever you want to call it.
We're skipping the Basilev torture cutscene. We actually have to enter that cutscene because we want to get Dark Side Bastila. And if you skip it entirely like we do in NMG, then you get Light Side Bastila instead, even if you go Dark Side. Alright, so we want to get a fighter skirmish here, unlike in NMG when we want to skip it, because we can break out of the fighter skirmish to warp to Lahan. And by doing this, we skip going on the Lahan version of the Ebon Hawk, which is good because it means we don't have to repair the Ebon Hawk because it never gets broken.
Not to mention, it means that our memory doesn't get cleared, so our save teleports are still functional.
Alright, we've got a DLZ to get into the temple.
Nice, that's an easy one. Here's probably the hardest DLZ in the run right here.
This will work, I think. Come on, thank you.
Nice. That's, we take those. That's solid.
I'm here.
Okay,
Alright.
now as you may...
Dark Alliance Bastila.
Yeah, as you may have surmised, we're probably not strong enough to fight Bastila, so we're just gonna
Come on, Bastila.
do a memory reset after saving. And then instead of loading the save we just made, we're gonna load a different save to do a fast lane.
Yeah, Fastlane is a glitch named after me, where you pop up replace your AMG with the return to Ebon Hawk to let you do it from anywhere. So, when we enter this conversation, as soon as we get to the point in the convo where it's supposed to end, we can just return, and we're good to go.
Almost done.
Alright, on to the Starforge.
There's a similarly long cutscene for Dark Side ending here that you are supposed to have to watch, but with the power of AMG, we are able to skip it. Now, we do have to bring Bastila with us, but that's okay because we're going to use a combination of GP warps and
I'm here.
hotshots to move through these modules without ever encountering enemies.
I'm here.
Also, we get to experience the beauty that is save teleports on the Starforge, which is something you don't usually get to do.
You can see that the movement is much quicker than it was in NMG. No, you don't actually need to remove the disruptor field.
Yeah, because we're not because the Ebon Hawk that gets disabled is different from our usual Ebon Hawk, and we just never go to that one. We don't use it. So we don't need to worry about repairing the ship. We don't need to worry about the disruptor field. We can just fly to the Starforge and be done with it.
So to get Bastila to the end of the deck, we actually warp to a different module. And then we warp back. And for both of those warps, Bastila is out of bounds.
Yes.
And so she spawns at the last known location of the main character. And since the main character got GP warped to the end of the deck, that warps Bastila to the end of the deck. And we're going to do the same thing here. We sometimes call this a double Neo hotshot, because we're doing a Neo hotshot twice in rapid succession. Okay. Now we're gonna do the same thing again, but now as soon as we get to the module. It turns out that the coordinates Bastila ends up on in the lower Shadowlands
I'm here.
are at the end of this deck.
Yes. What?
So we skip the entire command deck, including the fight with all the 7 that you're supposed to fight.
So blink and you miss it. We did basically all of Starforge. All that's left is the Malik fight, and then we're all done.
The way we kill Malik is somewhat satisfying.
Well done, Revan. I was.
So there's a very particular reason we went with Darkside Bastila. That's because she comes with 10 thermal ventilators, which is just enough to get Malik through his first phase. And we have a nice AMG trick up our sleeve that'll let us skip the second phase.
What? What can I
So
do?
before you know it, Malik's gonna be dead.
I'm here.
Okay, here we go.
You continue to look around you.
So by breaking out of that conversation, that's time.
GG.
At exactly the right spot, we're able to basically advance Malik's conversation to the next node, and the next node is the conversation at the end of the run. So we're able to completely skip the second phase, and kill the first phase with thermals.
And that is an unrestricted category of KOTOR, and it only gets more broken than that.
Yes, so as fast as that was, any percent is even faster, because you, instead of going to all the planets, you just go to Kashyyyk and use a glitch called the routine to make the game forget that you got the Kashyyyk star map so that you can get it again. And you just do that several times so that you advance the star map variable to the point where you can fly to Lahan. So any percent never goes to Manaan, Tatooine, or Corban. It does Taris, Dantooine, Kashyyyk, and then the end game.
Also, just so we can remind the audience, Indy, what level are we right now?
We are level 2,
Level 2.
but we have sneak attack 9.
Not that that particularly mattered for Malik, but...
No, we couldn't hit Malik. We only actually do 3 fights in the entire run. We fight the Governor for the launch codes, and we use wire targeting to do that. We fight Gadden so that we can get to the swoop platform to do the swoop race and make Canderous appear. And then we don't fight anything else until we get to Malik at the end.
Would you consider the Sith that we electrocute on the Endar Spire to be a fight, or is that just an occupational hazard?
That doesn't seem like a very fair fight to me. Of course, I'm not sure any of these fights are fair.
Yeah, I mean, we teleport behind Gadden and
yeah.
in his back and then teleport away.
The Governor fight is definitely not fair.
Yeah, he stares at us. Anyways, we get the fun Darkside ending cutscene with a level 2 non-Jedi character who's not even slightly dark aligned.
Yep.
So that's nice.
But I'll tell you, if you want really broken, stay tuned for the next run, which is KOTOR 2 any percent. That is the most broken run in all of KOTOR speedrunning. So it'll be fast, but it will be hilarious. Thanks to Lane for chatting about all-star maps with me.
Yeah, it was fun. And thank you to Biowareathon for hosting us. This was great. Look, behold the broken credits scene.
Yes.
Also, shout out to Indy's wife, Nay, for giving him enough of a break to do this.
Yeah, she's juggling our 2 young kids right now, which is very impressive. So shout outs to her. And yeah, we'll be back with KOTOR 2 in just a little bit.